Hello and welcome back to another Kaluno Gaming video. This time we're playing Satisfactory again. So I ran into an issue with my refineries right there, which I don't have enough power supported by this coal line. So this coal line goes back up this bridge, kind of jogs over beautifully between those trees right there, and then goes down and into 16 coal generators. Which therein lies my problem. It gives about 1200 megawatts of power, which when I turned this set of refineries on, worked. When I connected the other two with it, it crashed the whole system. So I'm going to build a new coal generator station out over here using some area actions, which I finally downloaded, but we're going to make a giant circular coal generator station. So the coal comes up over that mountain all the way over there. So starting off, you can see I'm over here at where the coal generators are going to be, and I'm going to go through it this first time, and actually you'll end up realizing I mess up. And you'll also see that I have a friend here joining me. He's kind of like a helping support character, as well as helping me build most of this world here and there. I'd also jump on his game and I help build his, so we kind of go back and forth helping each other. But you'll see here that I just set up the 4 corners for the area action command, which originally I wasn't going to mod this game, but for doing this I decided it was a good idea. And you'll see here in increments of 7.2 degrees is what I'm going to use to lay down 50 foundations in a perfect circle. Now the reason I downloaded this mod opposed to some other mods, I'm not really going to be using the flying ability unless I'm using it to show you guys something. I'm not really going to be using any of the fill things or using it for doing large buildings. Basically I'm going to use it for creating circles just like this. So I will go through, build the circle, and then go back, lay down my own foundations on the outside of those, and you'll actually see in the one time lapse in this video that I'll go back and I'll actually delete these foundations that I made with the area actions. So I tend not to use them that much. The only thing I use it for is kind of a blueprint for my building, and then that's about it. All these numbers that you can see me typing in here for these area actions to create this circle, I will leave probably in the description, or I'll leave just saying, you know, it's 7.2 and then multiples thereof up until you get to 180. Actually, one less than 180. I think the last one's like 172.8, I believe is what it ends at. But that way there, you guys, if you want to build something similar to this, you can. Going on here, you'll see I'll finish building up this circle, and this is in real time. So you can see this doesn't take very long. This is the other reason I kind of wanted to get these area actions. Building a circle the normal way takes a while. This circle here, I believe, from one foundation to the opposite foundation is 21 blocks. Yeah, it's an odd circle, so I'll have 11 blocks going in, counting the center, and then 10 from one block out from that center to the other side. So it ended up being 21. It makes a good sized circle, and you'll actually see later on I end up having an error with this, and we'll talk about that. But for now, you can see I'm at about 100 degrees when we're just shy of the 180. Now, if you notice on the left side of the area actions control panel that's coming up, you'll notice how close I'm getting to the one rock over there, and this is where I end up messing up. So I didn't notice this at first, but these foundations, I'm going to end up having basically a 3x3 grid on each one of these foundations extending outward. So the pieces that I'm laying now are kind of like the middle edge of the inner side. There's going to be one to the left, one to the right, and then 2 more rows going toward the outside of the circle. And that's so that the coal generators can fit. I end up actually adding an additional piece on the inside for running belts, and I'll end up adding an additional piece on the outside in the middle for running power. So it'll end up being kind of a 3x3 with opposite edges having an additional block. So you guys can kind of use this as a tutorial for creating your own circular coal generator. And the whole reason I kind of ended up doing this is the buddy that's with me in this video, he kind of made a comment where I found these 4 coal nodes out in the forest behind here. He's just like, oh look, there's water right next to it. You can build, you know, your generators over there and you don't have to worry about piping them up over this mountain. Yeah, I said nope. I actually decided I'm going to pipe them up over the mountain. It's actually not that far. It's maybe 900 meters, but I pipe them up over the mountain and into the coal generators. I think it looks a little bit nicer. Plus, then you can actually go over to the coal generators and admire how they look when it's done. So all said and done, I believe this turns out to be 48 coal generators, and I think it's 3 lines of coal that I end up putting in. Yeah, so 3 lines of coal, 48 generators, ends up giving me 3,600 megawatts of power, which I actually end up leaving my old coal station and just piping the overflow from its manifold into this. So that way there it's a false 46, no, sorry. It's a false 4,800 megawatts. If I go up over 50% power usage, it'll drop back down to 36 using the old coal generators, which I'll eventually erase. And you can see here I'm erasing my error. This is where I made it too close to that rock, so I'm just going to kind of fast forward through here, delete it, place my other 21, delete the 9 on either side going from the outside block. So if you take the outside block, delete 9 going in toward the center, leave the center, delete 9 more going to the outside, then you're left with the spacing that you need for creating this ring. You can see I'm figuring out the foundations for how I need them to be set up for the coal generators, and this is where I'm talking about how it's going to be like a 3x3. You can see on each one of these 3 long pieces, I end up adding blocks clipping into each other that create that 3x3 grid. Which, this takes a little while, and it's doable. You just kind of have to finagle a little bit to get the right placement of the foundations. Sometimes the foundations don't like to be placed inside of each other as easily. You can place all of them, it just takes some time. I think in total it ended up taking me maybe about 30-40 minutes to create this entire ring, but you can see there that's kind of the pattern that I ended up going with, and you'll end up having the coal generators sit on them just like that, which right now I'm kind of standing above them, as well as having this platform up here, so they're not going to be able to be built right now. But I'll end up building more of the ring and get the coal generators on there. So that the main line in, you'll see I placed an extra block currently. That's just kind of to denote where that line is going to be, and also how long it's going to take to get to and from that front portion. And you'll see here, building out that circle, you just kind of build those 3, add 1 on to those 2 that I had right there, build the 3 on the inside, and then we're good. So jumping forward here, that's my old coal generator station. I have 16 of them there. And then I think it's 6 water extractors, and then here is this behemoth. So in total, 48 coal generators all in a circle. You can see I have the inner line for the belts, which we're going to jump to. And there's the last one for this beginning portion. So this portion here is half of one set of 16. So this one's going to have 8 on this right side and then 8 on the left side. So this one splits right in the middle. Half goes to one side, half will go to the other. So here is where you can see that. And then I'm just going to jump forward again, and you'll be able to see what this looks like once I get most of it completed. So here we are at the last one, and now you can see I have both sides completely done with the conveyor belts for the coal. They kind of come up after those 8 and then go into the last 16, so those will have each 16. Here's a different view from it. You can see those 3 lines going in. The bottom 2 will split to the left to the right. Sorry, not split, but just head left and right, and the top one splits to the left and right. Each of the bottom ones go to 16 each. So now for the water extractors. Here you can see my first attempt, which I didn't like. Then my second attempt, which there's nothing wrong with this one other than the size of the ring. So if you guys end up building something similar to this, you can use this format, just build it probably 2 blocks bigger. So use 23 blocks instead of 21, and then you can fit all 18 water extractors in the middle. I was only able to fit 16 in here, and I didn't want 2 just sitting in the middle. I thought that would look a little weird. So I'll show you what I ended up doing. This is basically the final layout of how I wanted the water extractors. Turns out I end up having 2 rows of 6 here down the middle, and then you'll see off to the sides I end up having a little bit of space on either side there, which on the left and right I want to be able to put 3 more, which go directly into the coal generators that are on that side. So I kind of set them up into sections of 8, so you'll see here. There is a section of 8 back there, a section of 8 coal generators there in the middle, and a section of 8 coal generators here in the front. And then the 3 water extractors will go there facing the opposite direction of the ones on the right of the screen. That way there, they kind of face out toward the ring, in toward the center, and then out toward the ring. Here you can see I'm going to place those 3 outer water extractors, and if you notice as I'm placing them, I'm leaving 3 blocks right here between the inner set of foundations and this outer set. Reason being is the water extractors take up those 3 blocks. You can't do it with 2 blocks, so I kind of leave that space. And the way I place my water extractors, since you can't place them on a grid, is I basically counted over 4 coal generators that direction, over 4 coal generators the other direction, found the middle block since the ring doesn't have a middle block on the sides, line up the water extractor straight enough to the grid as I can, and then follow the center line of this foundation that I'm on. You can see there's that line right there. You follow that line with that little bump in the center of the water extractor. And then this takes a little bit. So the placing the first one's the hardest, but I want to get it as close to the foundation as I can. That way there, it's kind of more uniform, but you'll see it's just right, so close, there. Then once I do that, I like to hop on top of the water extractors. I find this part to be a little bit easier, because you can jump from water extractor to water extractor fairly easy. What I'm looking at is in the bottom left right here, where there's the little railing with the ladder. I'm lining up those 2 points right there on the platform. So once those 2 points are lined up, I place that water extractor. And then on this side, I do the same thing. That point down on the right, where those hand railing ladder things, I line up those 2 points, get them as close as I can together. Once they're lined up, I place a water extractor. That's how I placed all of them down the middle as well. Let's take a look. I hooked up the outer water extractors, so the 3 on either side. And they're all hooked up to their pipe with 3 pipes. And you'll see here in a second, I'll get all the other ones hooked up. Bam! Magic. Alright, well, Cole will be in the next episode, so if you guys are ready, we'll show you this thing fully loaded and fired up. Otherwise, this is Kaluno Gaming signing off, and have a good day.